everybody. Welcome to the show. I hope you know where you are, the 9 at 9 with me, Tigo. And you know how I love to bring in these experts, and this is a VIP expert day, and I love bringing interesting topics and inside information. Well, today we're going to talk about fitness. And no, my boxing coach isn't here, but we're working on getting that done. Today we're going to talk about mental fitness. So sit right there. We'll be right back.
Expert Talk is sponsored by Pod Nation TV, the podcast to broadcast network.
Hey, welcome back. You heard me right. We're going to talk about mental fitness. Now, he was here before and he gave us a little bit of information. So I invited him back because I was just like, wow, who knew mental fitness was so important? So I asked Cory Chadwick to come back. He's here. Hey, Cory, what's happening?
Hey, Tigo. It's great to be back. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you back, man. You're amazing. And, you know, every time I hear a new topic that I go, well, that's just common sense. I should know that. And then you start talking about, I'm going, I knew nothing about that. So I'm so glad you're here. And we're talking about, you know, mental fitness and getting yourself, you know, to your peak performance, correct?
Yeah, peak performance in life, in all areas of your life.
In all areas of your life. So I got to ask you, you know, did you just get up one day and say, you know what, I got to work on my mental fitness? How did you get from being a regular person like us to being this mental fitness expert?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it started a long time ago. I was like a teenager feeling like I had potential and I'm trying to figure out my life and where I want to go. And I didn't know kind of what direction to point myself in. I didn't know how to get from kind of being who I was to who I wanted to be. I didn't even really know who I wanted to be. I just knew that there was a version of myself deep down that I believed I could be. I just didn't know how to get there. And then I went through some tough times growing up. When I was 16 years old, I contracted this freak rare brain virus that took doctors. Yeah, it was wild. It took doctors 7 months just to diagnose it. So it was 7 months of not knowing if I was going to live or die or what my life was going to look like if I did live. It was a kind of scary time, but also a time that kind of pushed me out of that, you know, here's what life looks like, and really show me that different things can happen in different situations and circumstances can happen. Some of those are out of your control and you got to decide what you want to do with them. So I was kind of growing up faster than maybe I had planned to, but hey, that's life. Where mental fitness came on my radar was my mom suffered from mental illness. And this was when I was a teenager. People didn't talk about mental health or mental illness then. It wasn't part of the conversation. There was
when I was a kid, they said they were tired or they, you know, they just needed to take a rest or something. It wasn't as public as it is now and understood as well as, well, that's debatable, as well as they say it's understood now.
Yeah,
so I totally get it.
Yeah, we're making progress. We've got a long way to go, but you know, we're moving in the right direction. So, you know, there was a stigma about it too. Like you said, people saying they were tired or whatever, they needed a rest. Well, my mom really tried to hide it from me and from my brother and from most people in her life because she was proud and because she didn't want to come across as weak. You know, she's a mom, got to protect her boys, like all of that. And so I really had no idea how bad things were, how much she was struggling, until I was getting a little bit older in my teen years and recognizing like, okay, it's not just like mom needs a rest, like something's really going on here.
Right.
And I really had no idea how bad it was until she tried to take her life.
Oh my goodness.
And, yeah, it was brutal. You just don't see that coming, you know, you just never assume it's that bad. And then she tried again, and then eventually she went through with it.
Oh, wow. So sorry.
Yeah. Thank you. You know, you're trying to process a lot and you're trying to understand a lot. And one of the things that I was really trying to process is, what if this comes for me too? You know, this is my mom. This came for her. She had to deal with this.
Genetics and DNA and all that good stuff.
You got to think about that. And so I am too, and freaked me out. like this idea that I could lose control of my mind and end up in a place where, well, like that was my life too. That really freaked me out. And I realized I had two choices here. One, I could just kind of cross my fingers and hope everything worked out, and maybe I don't end up like that. Didn't really seem like the best plan for me. Not really my
Yeah.
style, right?
Yeah, that doesn't usually work.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't work that often, does it? So the second choice was to be proactive, was to start to take control of my mind, with the thought of, I don't know if you can beat mental illness, but I'm going to try, and to get out ahead of it. So if I can take control of my mind, maybe I can do that. And so a little bit at a time, I would just rewire how I thought and how I made my decisions and how I behaved. Little tweak here, little adjustment here. I've always liked knowing how things worked. Very kind of logical, analytical thinker for most of my life. And I'm curious. I really like knowing how puzzle pieces fit together. And so a little bit at a time, I was just piecing another piece of the puzzle, another piece of the puzzle. And I started seeing how so much of this worked together. So I didn't know it at the time, but I was working on my mental fitness. That's exactly what I was doing. And so I've been working on my mental fitness now for almost 25 years.
Wow.
And just making it such a huge part of my life. It started out as a way to, again, just avoid a situation, kind of like just to survive. But over time really developed into something so much more than that. I was happier than I'd ever been. I was having a great success in business. My relationships were incredible. I was showing up as the kind of leader I wanted to in my business, which was really exciting for me. I was in great physical shape. Like, all of these things were happening simply because of the way that I learned to think and make decisions and behave, which was entirely in line with who I wanted to be anyway. So
how did you know that you had something there? You knew you had something for yourself, but how did you know you had something there that you could share with the world?
Yeah, great.
Anywhere in the world, we need to work on our mental fitness. That's not something that's, financially separated or, female, male, any gender, nothing. It's like everybody has a brain and we need to, use it at its full capacity. So how did you know this is something I need to share with the world?
Yeah, great question. So people started asking me things like, what have you figured out that we haven't figured out? And I really kind of took it for granted, because to me, this had become almost intuitive because I'd been doing it, like kind of developing it for so long. And it just was a lot easier. It made more sense to kind of think this way and make decisions this way and that sort of thing. So I was really kind of taking it for granted until a mentor of mine got in my ear about it. And he said, I know you're taking this for granted, but stop. If you can find a way to teach this to people, you can do a lot of good, and you can help a lot of people and change a lot of lives.
Yeah.
What really did it for me, though, was when my first son was born. And I love being a dad. It's my whole world. There's nothing I love more than being a dad. But I felt this huge sense of responsibility. And I think a lot of parents can relate to this. Your kid's born and you're seeing them for the very first time. And all of a sudden you're thinking, like, I need the world to be a better place for them. I got to help make the world a better place somehow. Like, I feel this sense of responsibility to try to do that. And I realized that I had something here that could do a lot of good. And so instead of kind of taking it for granted, I got to work on developing it into something that I could share and teach with other people. And that's really where this all got started.
That's amazing. And, I'm loving the fact that you're one of our VIP experts, and we're going to have you back next month and truly dig in a little bit more, because Alan's throwing up the 1 minute thing and he loves cutting us off. But I just want to say, they say, the experts tell us that if we can answer a question, then we have something to share. And it seems that mental fitness is the ultimate question to answer. So, bravo, my friend. I think that's amazing. Before Alan cuts us off, how do people get in touch with you?
I'm on LinkedIn. That's a great way to connect with me. So connect with me on LinkedIn, or you can check out our website, www.mentalgymlife.com. You can also connect with me through that right there, through the contact form if you want. Either way, those are the two best places to get in touch.
Awesome, my friend. I will see you next month. You are amazing. And for everybody out there, if you're driving, don't say, hey, Tigo, what did he say? What did he say? You know what to do. Go to Tigo Direct, type in Cory, type in mental fitness. He's going to come up, send him a message privately, and it'll get into his inbox and he'll reply to you. I thank you, my friend, and we'll see you next month.
Thanks, Tigo.
Thank you. I'll talk to you guys soon. You know who I am. I'm Tigo. We'll see you next time.